1,000 ships moving through the darkness of the Black Sea. 40,000 warriors who had never lost a naval battle. In June of 941, the Rus, the brutal heavy infantry of the Eastern Vikings, rode south to sack Constantinople. They expected to find an undefended city. Instead, they found 15 obsolete, rotting galleys. By every metric of medieval warfare, this was a slaughter. But those 15 ships were carrying a 300-year-old classified state secret, and in a matter of hours, the entire framework of Viking invincibility was going to burn to the waterline. This was a calculated invasion. The Rus had built a massive trading empire down the river systems of Eastern Europe, and Constantinople was its economic heart. But trade treaties were failing. Prince Igor of Kiev needed a victory to secure his political survival. Waiting for him was Emperor Romanos the First. Romanos wasn't born to rule. He was a pragmatist who seized the throne. When intelligence warned of a 1,000-ship Viking fleet, Romanos didn't panic. The imperial army was hundreds of miles away, and the navy was chasing pirates. He looked at what he had left, 15 decommissioned warships. He ordered them refitted with bronze siphons. They were loading them with Greek fire. Dawn breaks over the Bosphorus Strait, a narrow 19-mile choke point. From his command ship, Igor spots the 15 Byzantine vessels lumbering northward. He doesn't see a threat, he sees an opportunity. He issues the order to encircle them and take the ships intact. 40,000 men close the trap. The Rus ships are fast, low-slung pine dugouts. The warriors stand at the prows, gripping grappling hooks and two-handed Dane axes. They wear iron chainmail that weighs 25 pounds. The Byzantine ships don't run. They hold their position in the current. They let the Vikings get within 30 feet. Then, the bronze tubes on the Byzantine prows rotate. There is no word in the Old Norse vocabulary for what happens next. A pressurized stream of liquid erupts from the bronze tubes. It travels through the air, hits the water, and keeps burning. The exact formula for Greek fire is lost to history, but it was essentially medieval napalm, a sticky petroleum-based nightmare that ignited on contact with air and clung to whatever it touched. Wood, wool, human skin. The nearest Viking ships ignite in seconds. Pine pitch is perfect fuel. The warriors do what any sailor does when their ship catches fire. They jump into the sea. But the sea is burning. If they stay on the boats, they incinerate. If they jump, the fire spreads across the surface. The iron chainmail that made them the most feared heavy infantry in Europe suddenly becomes an anchor. Men sink like stones, dragged to the bottom of the Bosphorus by their own armor. The Byzantine specialists systematically rotate the bronze tubes, washing the strait in liquid flame. It isn't a battle, it's a physics problem, and the physics are entirely in the Byzantines' favor. Total panic shatters the Viking fleet. Ships collide as oarsmen desperately try to reverse away from the inferno. The outer ring of Igor's armada scatters toward the Asian shore. For 4 months, the stranded, starving Rus survivors pillage the undefended Byzantine countryside, crucifying captives in frustrated rage. But eventually, the professional Byzantine land army returns. Relentless, Igor is forced to consolidate his broken forces and flee north across the Black Sea. But the Byzantines are waiting. The 15 fireships intercept the retreating fleet. Once again, the sea burns. Only a fraction of the original 40,000 men make it back to Kiev. They carry home a terrifying report. They tell their people that the Greeks possess lightning from heaven. The balance of power was permanently shattered. By 945, the Rus are forced into a humiliating treaty. They are no longer conquerors, they are vassals. Eventually, Norse warriors realized that if they cannot beat the fire, they must guard the man who controls it. They will travel to Constantinople not to raid, but to serve as the emperor's elite Varangian guard. As for Prince Igor, the man who commanded 1,000 ships and survived the fires of the Bosphorus, was killed a few months later in a petty dispute over local taxes. History is rarely poetic, but it is always brutal.